Okay, Madam Chair, you're good.
Okay, I'm all set? Okay. So we have a quorum with all the Open Space Committee members in attendance, calling the meeting to order at 5:01.
Perfect. And I'm just going to read a brief disclaimer. So due to the increasing concern surrounding the coronavirus pandemic, this meeting will remain closed to the public. There are no scheduled hearings and there will be no public input portion. Video and audio of the meeting will be posted on the Town of Dayton YouTube channel. And again, this meeting is being both audio and video recorded. And then we will also request that it be aired on Channel 9 from the Cable Commission as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, so the first section, first thing on the agenda was vote to approve the minutes from the last meeting, which was on the 3rd of March. And yeah, so did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Do we have any amendments or anything that we want to change?
I don't have anything.
Nope, I don't have anything.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
I have the audio. I seem to have lost the picture. What should I do? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna send you a request, Tom. It says ask to start video. So one sec, let me send this to you.
All right. Sorry about that.
You should receive something like a pop-up that maybe you can click on now.
Okay. I had it for a short time, then I lost it.
No worries. And then at the bottom, there's of the screen, it says mute on the left, and then the button right next to it, it should say start video. So you can click that button to start your video.
Okay. Nothing yet. Oh, wait a minute.
No worries. You don't necessarily, I mean, the school committee, for example, doesn't always do video.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal.
All right. Well, as long as I can hear it.
We know you're here.
All right. I saw you for a little minute and then I lost it.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, if you'd like to continue.
No, that's fine. No, we need to, it's, yeah. It's
New to us all.
Yeah, exactly. It's very weird. Okay, so the next thing so we have something to really approve the minutes. Do we have any changes to the minutes for the last meeting?
Tom and I didn't have any changes. I think Mrs. Daly does a good job on the minutes, so I don't actually I don't have any amendments or anything.
I didn't have any. Do you have any? Oh, you wrote them.
I wrote them.
She would have made those changes if she wanted.
Yeah, I don't have
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
A second. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So we've approved the minutes from our meeting. Let's see. So then the next thing, I'm looking at the wrong thing. The next thing on our agenda was to review the questions for section 9 on the open space plan. I think we're hoping Bill would be here, but I hadn't heard from him. Has anybody heard from him? Have you heard anything?
When you guys send him emails, I think they go through, and for some reason when I send him his Serpid email address, emails from my Town of Dayton email address, I get bounced back. So I don't actually know if anyone's heard from him or not, because I'm not even getting his responses. Mine
haven't been coming back.
Oh, he's coming. Okay, here he is.
Oh.
Yay.
It's so funny. It comes up, it just says BNAP. Okay, one second.
Yeah, we'll just wait then.
I'm going to go grab the book. I forgot my book.
I'm gonna grab a glass of water. He's just connecting to audio and video.
I thought you got your water. You better go get
No, I'm sorry.
it. I wish I could see you guys.
Hey,
It's okay.
hey, Ellen, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Bill?
All right, I'm not on video because believe it or not, I'm at work, and this is the worst place for internet. It keeps going in and out. I get wonky, but if I leave on either audio or video, I'm good. So I'm going to do the audio. So,
Yeah, that makes that sense.
Yeah. good to see.
So just so it's clear in the because we're recording it, I'm just going to introduce you. This is Bill Napolitano from SERPID, the Regional Planning Agency, and he's been helping us with the Open Space Committee meeting, or Open Space Plan, excuse me.
Yep.
So.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, Jess, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm wicked.
Ah,
I'm wicked. This is my.
Yeah. Bill, I'm here, but I don't have audio. I don't have the video either. I'm just audio.
Yeah, Tom, I don't think we met because I think we
Yeah,
were
we have.
not in the open space meetings.
Well, I've met you in person. Yeah, a
Yeah,
couple
I
of
know, yeah.
times.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the open space committee, you're new to the committee, right?
I'm
Yeah.
brand new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brand new. Yeah.
Because I remember we were down to the bare bones where we didn't have a quorum, so we couldn't get anything done at the end.
Well, I got recruited by the select.
Well, this is
He twisted some arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, before the pandemic, Bill, I think we only got to have like one meeting before.
Yeah.
We basically got to regroup before our sea legs were taken out again.
that's right. Oh, I know this has been unbelievable, Brett. And
It's crazy. It really is. But you know what? I'm fortunate that Mallory really, our town administrator, really jumped into action on the remote meeting stuff so that we didn't miss a beat. In fact, for the selectmen's meetings, we didn't miss any. We kept rolling. So,
oh, that's
Oh,
great.
that's really good.
so for this committee, what that means is whenever we need to meet, if we want to keep a regular schedule, we can do that. If we want to meet as we need to, we can do that. But we can basically meet when we need to now. So that's good.
That's great. That's great. Well, it's good to see everybody again. That's for sure.
You as well. You as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, this is really good. So you were first up on the agenda, Bill. We were going to review section 9, which is the action steps.
Yeah, I had handed that out. Did
Oh,
anybody?
hey, there's Tom.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, I must have done something.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tom.
Hi. I can't see you now, but you can see me. That's good. Do I look all right? Oh my God. Yeah.
so, Bill, we went through the action plan last meeting,
Okay, great.
and then we had some questions that we thought we could ask you.
Awesome. Fire away. Yeah.
Mhm. Jessica, do you have those written down?
I have them right here in front of
Okay,
me.
perfect. Thank you.
So, the first, number 1, we were wondering what goals, objectives need to be addressed. I had circled that.
Right. Yeah, I hadn't put them in yet because I hadn't finalized the action plan with anybody before our meetings got cut short. But
Okay.
I can send around in section 8. It specifically lists the goals and objectives for Dayton, and where we were going is we had actually gotten to a point, we'd broken it out into categories based on the meetings that we were having. So one of the goals that we wanted to do was improve the quality of your parks, recreation, and park system. And that's what we were talking about, things like the Olmsted parks and the whole bit. So that was our first goal, and I put that under a park section. And the second one was Greenways and Trails.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we were talking to Jeff Carvalho too. In fact, I remember he came in, that was one of the last meetings we had where he actually he came to a meeting and we were talking about this. And that was to continue to enhance our network of greenway facilities and trails.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to work with Jeff on the side as much as I can too, to get him some contacts, maybe some technical assistance and some money
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So that's under our Greenways and Trails section. And the second one, goal under the Greenways and Trails section was to work with local and regional partners to develop new greenway and trail connections. And that's where we can get into the Taunton River Trail by working with Somerset, Taunton, you know, and whoever else national parks, because there's also the potential there to set up greenways and blueways. And those areas where Dayton has access to the water, we can actually connect our trails to like the Dayton boat ramp and get it part of a designated blueway with the national park system on the Wild and Scenic River.
Bill, can I ask you a question about the part one? Just
Sure.
to expand on it. So I totally agree about the, you know, beefing up our parks, so to speak, and really investing in them.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if you're aware, because so much goes on and sometimes the information doesn't always trickle up to the selectmen, and we're like sometimes honestly the last to know about really good things that are going on in town because so much is going on at the same time. But basically, I think there is a warrant article, or they're going to try to do it either at the annual town meeting or maybe with CPC funds at the special town meeting. I need to speak to the chairman, but they're going to try to invest in a bunch of new equipment for the new North Dayton playground. The equipment was destroyed a few years back, and the neighborhood kind of rallied. And how does that fit into that part one of the plan?
Yes, so that's perfect. You're actually addressing a need that when we were doing this, Dayton, and this is also written up into the process in section 6, you have to explain to the state what you did with your outreach. And we did a survey, but then we followed it up by going to every board that would have a place in this open space plan and asking them specific questions. And we went to the Parks and Recreation, and the North Dayton Playground was one of the things we brought up, and they realized then it needed attention. So coming up with that's great. That meets one of the needs. And that was one of the things that we had hanging out there to be addressed.
Sweet.
So,
Oh, there she is.
so Bill, I just have a question. Number one was the action was to prepare a master plan for Broad Cove.
Yep.
So the goals and objectives that need to be addressed for that are in section 8 of the open space plan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I'll do is after we finalize the action, I'll marry them to the goals and objectives that we had put together as a committee. I just wanted to make sure that all of the actions were good with everybody.
Oh, I loved that. I thought they were really good. And I, just so everyone knows, so I sent the action plan sort of informally to the town administrator, and she really liked it as well because it ties into a lot of other projects that are ongoing right now that she's helping to oversee. So kudos.
Oh, that's great. And like I said, credit to the committee, because I think one of the things that towns don't do a lot of the times, and the fact that you're a small town and you have a lot to do, going around and actually interviewing, preparing those questions and having those sit downs, sometimes, live TV or, cable, and or sometimes just with committee meetings, and asking very pertinent questions to show the connections between the boards and how they should work together, and looking at goals and objectives for conservation, open space, and recreation that a lot of times boards don't even feel they're a part of. I think that was really key. And it's probably, in all the years I've been working, it's the only time I've ever done it that way with an open space committee. It took extra time, but I think the questions we put together were great. And I think the responses we got together, got from the boards really helped formulate your action plan. So it's real stuff. I mean, this is real stuff that came up in meetings. This is what, people were looking for, and they got the answers right off the bat.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll make it helpful to get it rolling and get it accepted by the town. And get places for people to buy in to the project.
It was very cool.
One other thing that I had gathered from speaking with the town administrator is, so originally when I had heard about the open space plan and explained it to the town administrator when she was hired, I was really thinking that the open space plan, our open space plan, would be sort of added to the prior master plan. And in speaking to the town administrator recently, what it sounds like is we need to do a new master plan. And so what I'm hoping is, because the one we did in 2014 is actually almost outdated, and I'm not sure how beholden boards were to the master plan before, like, for example, I was elected. And so we're thinking about doing a new one. And so I actually am thinking that our open space and recreation plan will be like the benchmark, or will be sort of like the opening salvo for what's to come in the master plan as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think some of the things that you've done, Brett, recently, especially, one of the things we had in the goals and objectives and even in the actions for the open space plan was to do the MVP plan, which you guys are in the middle of right now. So I think between the open space plan, your MVP plan, your hazard mitigation plan, you're going to have a lot of the background that you'll really need to launch, an update of your master plan.
Absolutely.
So Bill, the next question we had was for number 3.
Uh-huh.
And it says to improve opportunities at Horton Street and Chestnut, including ADA accommodations where feasible. Is that too vague, or can we leave it that vague, or can we make it more specific? I guess we were asking.
All right. It would depend on how specific you wanted to be. If you leave it vague, that was the statement we originally came out with when we got together to put together the action items. But in keeping it somewhat vague, it would accommodate any activity that would go to improve that situation. And as far as the ADA goes, you guys are in good shape, because I believe, Brett, you guys did get a grant, right, for the ADA assessment?
We did, yes. We got, to evaluate and study how to become compliant, yes.
Yep, which is great, because that's going to be required for the open space plan too. So that all ties together. And again, that's meeting other needs. So that would basically mean anything that comes up in the course of doing the ADA investigation in the town. If you wanted to look at activities, potential, recreational activities, say on Horton, something like that, you could tie it into that ADA assessment too.
Okay.
Yes, you're in good shape. That's actually, not many towns got those grants in this round. I think you guys in Lakeville and Marion down in this section of the world.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
So Ellen, you might have to help me on this one.
Okay.
Number 9 was to incorporate provisions for shared use path in development process whenever and wherever environmentally and economically feasible. So I guess we were just asking what that was.
Is that like a multi-use path? Is that what?
That came out, yeah, that's for multi-use paths. That was one of the things that when Jeff and the Trails Committee first got together, Ellen, remember they sent us a letter to read into our open space committee meeting?
Right.
And they sent us with all the outlines. And then in turn, they wanted to get that to us before we went to the planning board. And then we went to the planning board and said, do you guys make accommodations for set-asides to be able to link properties to interests, open space interests like trails, contiguous open space, the whole bit? And that's what they were saying. Well, no, we do have the open space, conservation. And we were saying, well, how about open space residential development bylaw? And they asked us specifically to look at that. And that actually is one of the things that got done also through another grant that I'm working on right now, the SNEP grant, the Southern New England Estuary Program. We actually just completed a deep bylaw dive on Dayton, and we were going to set up before the pandemic hit, actually a meeting with Nancy Goulart and the Stormwater Committee to go over it, because it goes over everything. It goes over low impact development solutions to things, connectivity, stormwater management, a lot of the questions that came up at the planning board, which is why we did the deep bylaw dive. So no, you're in good shape there. And hopefully, we'll either get to have that meeting, or maybe we'll have to have that through a Zoom too. But that work is done. Audubon's gotten the final draft of that together too. So we'll be passing that on if they haven't already to Nancy. I don't know.
Now, can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact you mentioned that Audubon, I do remember that meeting was coming up before this pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I think I did go to one of those meetings that Nancy with that group you guys run with your team.
Oh,
there.
yeah, the Resilient Taunton Watershed Network. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, Nancy had us down to talk to the Stormwater Committee.
exactly. So
Yep.
I think that's when I had met you, actually.
Yeah, that was. That was.
Anyhow, I think it's great. The whole thing is really, I'm new to it, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a really, I think part of this, there's so much that's coalesced around this open space plan because it actually helped pull in. I mean, that's when I was working on this before with our undersized committee. I was doing the grant for the MVP, working with Mallory, and then we pulled in the meeting with the Stormwater Committee. I just provided them some technical assistance on something, and then we realized that if they want, one of their provisions was to really look at their bylaws. Nancy was really interested in looking at the bylaws because they had just done one for stormwater management to see how everything else, you know.
I
worked.
can tell you from talking to people in town, all the different department heads and everyone that's involved with this speaks highly of you, by the way.
Maybe I owe them money. I don't know.
And I guess the last thing that we wanted to add to the action plan, Bill, was a
Yep.
space for a filing cabinet for the Open Space Committee.
Oh,
where we
yeah,
can
that's a good one.
store all of these papers that I carry around with me. You can add that as number 29 of the action.
You know,
step.
you know what? I'm gonna buy you one just because you've been so great about this, and that'll be my donation. Absolutely.
I even have the file cabinet. We just need a place.
Ellen has it. We just need to find a spot for us. So that was the last thing we wanted to add to it.
I'll get you a nice deep 2-drawer file so that when you're doing all this and it drives you nuts, you can stick your wine right on the top. It'll be like a tabletop level.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Ellen, if you have any other questions, or Tom, but that's the ones that I had written down.
All
But
right.
is there a place in the town hall or someplace we can put a file cabinet? We don't even have any file space right now at the town hall for our papers.
So there's definitely going to be space downstairs. Do y'all remember the old zoning office
Mhm.
downstairs?
Yeah.
Right in the back. So that the office manager also used to be in there. They're not there anymore. They share space with planning. So that really is like a open, quote unquote, open space, pun intended. We could definitely, I think there's no reason we couldn't put a filing cabinet down there.
Okay, so yeah, because I actually have a small.
Can I make a request though?
Oh, of course.
Because we won't always be down there. Obviously, we all, lead lives and work and everything. We should get one that locks. Just, not that anything we have is confidential, but we don't want anything taken out either.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Just to make sure we're not going to be there all the time. So I definitely support it. But rather than us use our own money, I will talk to Mallory and our executive assistant, our town administrator, and see what we can do. I know I have a filing cabinet there in the Board of Selectmen's office, so that I'm not really using, so I'm happy to donate it.
Yeah, because it's not really appropriate that all our files are stored at home.
That's what happens when each committee doesn't have space. It's not just us. It's like I hear this from the Parks and Recreation Commission, and I get it. I totally understand.
There are some, believe it or not, some of the stuff is stored in that. Well, not now. I think they moved it, the bathroom there.
Yeah, they had. Yeah, now we have space though, so I don't think the stuff is there anymore.
That's good.
Well, and it's also important as people come and go that we have a place where if they want to jump back into it,
Yes.
that somebody could go to this filing cabinet and get all this information.
And that's
I
probably
agree.
the best. That's probably the best thing, because one of the things we also recommended was that you set up a permanent open space committee that meets regularly to address the plan and move the plan. So having space in a town hall also gives you standing, because you're an official town committee and you have a place in there. And it's also a great place to kind of bring together the groups that are going to interact with you. Like, you know, you can go down there, if you have a meeting back there with Parks and Recreation or
Trails.
Conservation or the Trails Committee, you can come in there and there's your files. You can sit around at a table, pull out your files and say, let's get down to it. Let's do some business.
Yes.
I
So
totally
I
agree.
guess that's all I have. Ellen, Tom?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much everything I had. I did have a note here about although this is probably really something that not really a goal maybe for us. I had written down about solar panels and you know, natural plantings and stuff like that. That seems like it's really actually something more that the zoning board has to do.
Yeah, that sounds,
Right,
yeah.
like about, you know, natural plantings and around solar panels and new development.
Oh, that's when we were talking.
Plantings.
Yeah, we talked with the planning board about that.
Yes, we
Right.
did. And one of the things that they wanted, and you know what, I could probably put this in as an appendix item in the plan too, because it'd be good to carry over into master planning. And even if the planning board upgrades, we were talking about pollinator fields. And
Yes.
everybody was talking about, remember Jess, you probably remember the proliferation of solar developments in town, or at least you're getting all these proposals.
Mhm.
And people were worried about clear cutting the land, you know, and clear cutting trees and the whole bit. And I said, you should try to work with a natural landscape. And under the solar panels, you can do things like fields of pink and white clover, or if they're higher mounted, you know, wildflowers that don't take a lot of tending. And I said, and then get your fields to taper off into natural forested areas, you know, by using transitional plantings like sweet pepper bush, high bush blueberry, things like that, that just transition off into the forests, so that you do set up fields that attract all kinds of pollinators. Bees,
Right, and we
butterflies,
talked about how that we wouldn't have, the land wouldn't have to be cared for because the clover would grow and.
Yep,
We talked about that.
yep. And one of the other good things about clover is it fixes nitrogen into the ground. So, you know, it keeps less overground flow
Mhm.
as far as that goes.
So maybe we could add that somewhere in the plan as well,
Well, like,
or as a
yeah,
side note.
I can definitely stick it in, like I said, as an appendix. I've put that together for other towns, like as an appendix as far as pollinator fields go.
Perfect.
And, yeah, no problem. We can stick that in. That's where that note came from.
Yeah, so that was I think that was my only other note that I had written down here was about that, about natural plantings. Okay, so I guess our next part on do we have any, we've all commented, we don't have any more comments?
I
Okay.
just had a quick question about that. So are we making a recommendation, or are we reaching out to those boards to ask them that, for example, when I don't know, solar field is proposed, that you know, one of the conditions when they grant a permit, a special or like a solar variance or a solar permit, is that, you know, natural vegetation be surrounding, like, is that, I guess, what is the action in that item, I guess, is my question.
So we talked to the planning board and they really found that as a great idea. And I don't know where it went from there. It didn't really go anywhere from there. So.
Okay.
Well, I think actually Woody had followed up with me a little bit on that, and he wanted to know what types of information I had. So what we could do, Brett, is stick it in as an appendix and label the appendix pollinator field model for use with planning or planning board.
So I guess my question is, are we wanting them to incorporate this as a practice in their bylaws? Is that the point?
We could ask them to ask this of developers when they come in with solar proposals. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I actually think, I guess my point is, I think they'd be really receptive to that, because I know for the brief time when I was on, excuse me, the zoning board, we did get a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but we did get complaints from residents that they didn't want to see them. So, when they were next door to one. So I think that that's reasonable. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sure. I can put that together as an appendix and we can label it in the table of contents. So just what it's for, because that's the information they asked for.
Absolutely.
And the good thing is that ties another board directly into the plan too, because we're providing them information that they asked for from us after we asked things of them. So
Mhm. Give and take.
yeah, give and take, that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I guess then we just have our, we're on to item 3 then, which is our next steps for the plan. Bill, that's you.
Yep. Okay, what I can do now is I'll go back. I'll marry the actions to our goals and objectives that we had set previously. I'll put all that in place and then I'll pull all the sections together. And there's actually 2 things I was going to ask, or 3 things I was going to ask you guys tonight. I remember number 1 is, out of all the actions, what is required of the plan as a final map is called an action plan map.
Mhm.
So if you think about it, which actions would you like represented? You don't have to do all of them, obviously, but some really highlight actions. And I usually say try to pick one from a couple of different categories
Mhm.
that we can put on the map and label them and use that as an example of action items that we want to show the state that are important. So if everybody, you can send me your email list, like you say. I'd like to see, and it's usually more physical projects. I'd like to see number 9, number 12, number 15, number 18. Pick half a dozen and put those on there. And what I'll do is I'll take everybody's choices and put them on the map. Because I think a lot of people will probably be thinking the same. Or if you want to talk to one another about it, that would be fine too.
We can probably talk about that a little bit right now.
Yeah, fire away. Yeah.
That's in the action plan, Bill?
Yep.
Number 9 section?
Does anyone have, can I ask a quick question? Does anyone have an electronic version of this? I only have a paper version, and it's at town hall and I don't want to go there because of, obviously it's closed. Is there any way someone, if they have an electronic version, can share their screen so we can all look at the action plan? Sorry.
I don't think I do. I don't know where Bill, I guess
I
you.
have the paper.
If not, it's totally
No,
fine. I
I've
just
got it.
don't
What
have
I
it in
could,
front of me.
how about if I send you the plan just so you have it in front of you? That way you.
Okay, and then
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, and then I'll share my screen and
That
then
way everybody will have it. Okay, so I'll send it to you right
Perfect.
now.
thank
I think
you.
I believe I have the hard copy of it anyhow.
Well, we
Yeah,
have
I was
the
saying he just
digital
wanted to
one.
show it online on the.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when people go to watch the meeting, they
Yeah,
want to
that's
be able
true.
to follow
Yeah.
along.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
That's good.
Mhm. So Brett, you're gonna add this to the meeting, or should we wait for it to come for Bill to send it to you?
Okay.
I mean, we could, if you want to start discussing, what I'm going to do is when I receive it, I'll just make sure I share it on the screen. So when you
Okay.
are looking at the Zoom screen, it shows the action plan. So
All
what
right.
we're talking
Okay.
about, that's all.
So
All right,
I'm gonna go silent for a minute and then I'll be back in. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to discuss, you guys, since it's the 3 of us, or the committee,
Mhm.
about what we think we want to depict on the map?
Yeah, what does everyone think is the most important? I guess I'm curious to know.
Well, I have to say that when we did the survey with the families, the most important thing for families, it seemed, was recreational areas where they could bike, walk with their families. I don't know if you think that, Ellen, as well. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think we need to depict the projects that would enhance the recreational opportunities,
Mhm.
right? Like the new playground, the trail along the Taunton. I think we've talked about putting in possibility some trails at the town forest, things like that, to say, hey, this is our dream right now about what we could have for recreational opportunities in the town. to pick
Right.
up those things.
I'm back.
Hi,
Because
Bill.
that was the main thing that people across the board
Mhm.
in our town survey, that's what was most important to them.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely put that type of stuff on the map.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's definitely the most important thing, and I think that's what will get people excited and say, hey, this is, if we support this plan, this is what we could have.
In our town, right.
And you know what? For a little emphasis too, for the fact that you're going to fix, or at least go for a fix in the parks in North Dayton, we could put that on the action map too, just to show that it was in the plan and now we're addressing it. Because again, that always provides a little impetus, and it shows people that what they said when we were putting together the action plan is actually being addressed by the town.
And it's an ADA,
Yeah.
an ADA playground, right?
Can
Yeah,
everyone
it's
see
gonna
my
be done.
screen?
Yep, I can see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it looks
good.
good.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we can all follow along?
Yeah, that looks like
Okay.
something I just sent you.
Yeah.
Yes, this is your work.
Yeah, that is. That is.
Yeah, so that there's a number of places in here that we could map out, like the town forest, the trail along Taunton,
Yeah.
parks. I think we have a piece in here about the boat ramp, improving the boat ramp.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go though.
Yeah, maybe we could even put in here, we have a thing in here about promoting agriculture. Maybe we can put a little farm in there.
Oh, yeah, we can, we
Well,
can highlight-
especially Bristol Aggie being in town, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually something I appreciate you for making that suggestion, Ellen, because so the Agricultural Commission got some money we want to do a mailer. We want to put together some educational materials. Obviously, a lot of this was before the pandemic, but we really would love to get into schools and really educate people. And what I'm thinking is, when we go to do those materials, when we go to do the mailer, when we go to develop the brochure and the newsletter or whatever it is we want to end up doing, I think we should work hand in glove with the Open Space Committee on it, because I really see the two as being linked. And so we don't really have money as a committee, Open Space Committee. I don't think we have much, if anything. So we could kind of grift off of the Agricultural Commission's budget, at least for the next fiscal year, so we can get some funds to do some things ourselves. So I don't know how everyone feels about that, but I like that idea of them being tied together, at least for promotion and marketing and education.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's a fabulous idea. And one of the things, Ellen, back from your past, when you were with us on the Stewardship Council, you can actually, agriculture was one of the 6 outstanding values that got the Wild and Scenic River designated, the Taunton River. So you could probably come in and ask for an operating budget to do some agricultural outreach. From the Taunton River Stewardship Council. I can send you the grant application forms. And I can also send you guys something that we did a while ago for Rehoboth. If you've ever been in Rehoboth and seen their farm brochures, it's a big map of the town of Rehoboth. It has the agricultural soils on there, has location of some of the farms, lists the farms all around the outside and talks about the importance of agriculture.
Oh, I will reach out to them about that. Thank you, Bill. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel on that.
Yeah, in fact, I think I might have a copy. I might have it electronically here. So if I do, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
And if
very
not,
much.
I know I have hard copies. And that was done through a grant by a woman named June House, who's still on the AgCom over there. It's really,
Awesome.
really nice work. It might even be something you'd be able to get the kids over at Bristol Aggie involved in, Brett, like doing design.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because we get a reduced rate. It's a lot cheaper to do that than to, have Deval, for example, to do the brochure. So it saves some money for sure.
Maybe get a couple of junior members or associate members over there at the school. Get some kids who are interested in. Yeah.
Yeah, another thing we could put on the map is the Broad Cove project.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that one would be a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, that's something, Ellen, having that in there, if you eventually wanted to do some, I know Bill still wants to do the boardwalk out there. And if you want to do some retention of, you know, say the marsh out there to build resiliency for the town, you know, say coming out of your MVP process, that's stuff that could be eligible for funding in the future from the SNEP program, the federal program on the estuary. They're looking for nature-based solutions in towns, including land acquisition or enhancement. So yeah, this is all cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So any other ideas for things we should be putting on the map for Bill?
I think that's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
All right.
Only because, you know, you want that to be your laser focus, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so what else did you have for us, Bill?
Pardon?
You had you said there were a couple of things you were going to give us for homework.
Oh yeah, that was okay. That was one. I wanted that. And the other thing was I need a copy of your EEO policy, equal opportunity, and then who is your designated ADA officer?
Okay.
That
So
has to go in the, yeah.
We don't have a specific EEO policy. We have a hiring policy, so I'll definitely send that to you, Bill.
Yep, that'll do.
I'll send you all this info in an email just for your, you know, knowledge. Our ADA coordinator is Jonathan Gale.
Okay.
So I will give you all that info in one email, and
That's
also I'll give you his email address as well in case you need to reach out to him.
Okay, great.
Oh, and our EEO officer is the town administrator.
Yeah, that's what I figured it usually is. Okay.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
So the fourth agenda item was we wanted to look again at the map for the town-owned land.
Okay.
I have to table that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, aren't you on land use?
yeah, you know what I can do is, because we're meeting this way, I can send the last land use map that we had put together after we gotten all the contributions from all the committees.
Right.
I'll send that around to you guys. And then maybe the next time we meet, what we could do is we could host it from here, and I could see if Helen Zinkavich, my assistant director here of environmental programs now, I have an assistant, she's fabulous. Maybe we could put the map up on the screen so we could all do the same thing Brett's doing for us right now.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
That'd be fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah, do we have any other business that we need to discuss? That's my fifth agenda item.
How about the next meeting?
Yep, that's something we need to talk about.
Well, before we discuss the next meeting, Bill, is there anything you specifically need from us?
Oh, there was one last thing. When the wheels kind of fell off the committee, we were working on an update of it was actually in an appendix, the town-owned land inventory. It's like on an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And it just talks about open space in the town. If you look at the old open space plan, I think this goes way back, and probably, Ellen, you're the only one to probably remember, Lisa Caledonia had done it when she was the conservation agent. Just going through the assessor's records and updating that to see what you've acquired or what you have in conservation restrictions or easements, and then any other open space. And what I can do is I'll send you the format the state asks for. I'll show you one that we recently completed with Fall River. Yours is going to be obviously nowhere near as extensive, but I'll send you one page just so you can see what they do. And that would be it. That was the last thing we had to do. We were going to
Can
be.
you say that again, Bill? I didn't get that all written down.
Oh, okay, sure, Jess. It's an update of the open space. They call it the open space and land of conservation interest inventory.
Is that something we should be doing regularly, Bill?
Well, it's something that's good to keep up to date. Like once you set the spreadsheet up,
Mm-hmm.
it's really good to keep up to date. And what it'll do is because it has things in there like, the Chapter 61 properties, things like that, you'll know, be constantly up with who's enrolled, when properties come up. Obviously, the town gets right of first refusal on all of that stuff. But you can also use it to help. One of the things we were talking about as a committee was not necessarily putting a list out there, but looking at a prioritization
Mm-hmm.
and ranking process for land that you might want to acquire, especially when we were thinking it's always good to pick up land that's either next to state land, county land, or town-owned land.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the value of doing that, Brett, keeping a
Yeah.
spreadsheet and keeping that up to date. Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
I think that's actually a really good idea. And I'm going to put my selectman's hat on for just a second. And the reason I think this is such a good idea is because often we get these parcels that come up before us at a selectmen's meeting, and we have to decide if we, want it or not. Are we going to refuse it or do we want to take it? And we don't, sometimes we look at maps, sometimes we don't. We never hear from any other boards or committees. And I would love to hear things like, hey, maybe from the Trails Committee or the Open Space Committee, hey, yes, you can't build a house on this lot, but we're thinking of doing this project, and this land could be contiguous with these other pieces that are owned by the town. And, I just think that we need to have a more holistic view. And I, as the selectman, would love more input from Open Space Committee, Trails Committee, with that big picture vision in their minds of connecting things, having more open space. Like, yeah, we can't build a house on it, but that's not always the point. We
Right.
want the land so a house can't ever be put on it, so we can, I don't know, let nature grow there, or maybe a trail can go through there, just things like that. So I would love that to happen in the future, as we add more members as well, because obviously Tom, Jess, and Ellen have to do all the heavy lifting right now. So if we could get more people to help, that would be good for them, as well. And then you can delegate a little bit more.
Yeah,
Could I mention, Brett, could I say something about that? I mean, I
I'm
just
not
want to
the
mention, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear
yeah.
you.
I remember you talking with the other the board, and about sometimes you get these isolated parcels that you really can't access. So I don't know.
Yep, it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. Sometimes you don't want them. Like, I get that. I get that you don't always want a parcel.
How would you tie it
if
in?
it's behind a bunch of people's houses and it's in the woods.
Right.
Okay, I get you don't want that. But I guess to Bill's point, having an updated map for me will be really instrumental before I'm making those decisions.
Yeah, you know where it is.
I'm making a more informed decision. I'm consulting with Open Space. I'm consulting with Trails on what their plans are before making those decisions. So I know that's a little down the road, but I think that type of forward thinking is where we need to go for sure in terms of our open space and our recreational spaces.
Yep. And once you have the Excel spreadsheet too, you can usually convert that right into a map. And you've got people in there with those types of skills. I know John Gray's working in the town hall now too, and John does that, and he was doing that when he was with CMAP. And so you got some nice assets, and it'll be a great, like you said, it's a great way to keep track of things and a great way to plan for things going forward.
Absolutely.
So, is this something, Brett, that you can do, put together this list, or is this something that you're going to need help with? Like, this seems like this is going to be pretty.
Well, what I was going to do is reach out. Bill, do you think who has this inventory? Is it the assessing office?
This would be probably be the assessor, because they keep track of the chapter properties, and they keep track of the town's open space holdings. Yep.
And Bill, can I have the exact name of the map? And I apologize. I just wrote town-owned land inventory map.
You know what?
Is the exact name?
I will send you a copy of a sample spreadsheet, and that will have the name on it and the whole bit.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, Ellen, I will do that part for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's kind of hard with the town hall being closed.
It's super hard even for me, with it being closed for sure.
Yeah.
But the other thing, Bill, is regarding maps. Our GIS map, the assessing department recently switched vendors, and basically it's not functional right now.
Okay.
Someone from conservation had reached out, and I know this is a big problem. I had a couple residents reach out about different things they wanted to do with their property.
Uh-huh.
So is this something that can kickstart us getting that mapping back up and running?
Yeah, I mean, this may do that. The other thing too is we can see what we can do based on the information you can get, even if you can just put it in a spreadsheet. We
Okay.
may be able to put together a digital map for you off the spreadsheet, and that could be
Okay.
kind of the first thing that you'd have in your new,
Awesome.
your new toolbox.
Okay, perfect.
We'll figure something.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that part, everyone. No,
Okay,
I
no
wrote
worries
it
on
down, don't worry.
that. You'll hold me accountable.
So do you want to schedule our next meeting?
Yeah. What was it that we had agreed upon? It was so long ago now. I'm trying to.
We
don't
were
remember.
doing, I want to say the third, I could be wrong, Jess, you would know, the third Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m.
That sounds
That's
right.
fine.
That would explain why we're meeting
If
now.
that works for everybody else, I mean, I think it just depended on if somebody had something to do.
So
Yeah.
I have agricultural commission, but it's third Tuesday at 7. So I'm okay with 5 if everyone else is.
I'm
And
fine.
that would be June 16th. Is everybody good with that?
I'm good with
Yep.
that.
I'm
Yep.
good
Yep.
with that.
Okay,
All
so
right.
next meeting,
Is-
June 16th.
So can I send out the meeting invite with the Zoom information after
Mhm.
this meeting, or is that too early? Because we have to schedule these things or they get booked up by other committees.
Oh, really?
No, that's fine.
Okay,
Oh, that's
I'll
fine.
send that out.
That makes sense.
And I'll get these minutes typed up and sent, and then get it. So the agenda for next time is just to really talk about finishing up the next step, right, Bill?
That's it. Yep,
And taking a look at everything?
yep. And like I said, I'll try to get as much as I can get digitally out. I will, and that way, what I'll do is I'll do it the right way. I can go through the
Mhm.
chair. Ellen, Ellen
Okay.
and I used to do this. I'll email stuff to you, the stuff that I have. And that way we can get it out to the members. And then Brett, I'll get you the stuff specifically for the spreadsheet for the properties.
Awesome. And Bill, I will get you the hiring policy and I'll send you the ADA coordinator info.
There we go. We should
And
be in
then we
good
want
shape.
to try, Bill, to get that map up.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll talk to Helen about that and we can, that way we can get it up. And at the very least, what I'll do is I'll try to get a digital copy that I can send around to Ellen that she can email out to you guys so you at least
Yeah,
have a
sounds
point of
great.
reference.
great.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Sounds good. So do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:55?
Motion made. I mean, I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Oh, second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Meeting adjourned. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll
Bye,
see
guys.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good night. Bill, thank you.
Well,
Thank
you
thank
very
you,
much,
thank you,
Brett.
guys. Stay safe.
Yeah, you
Bye-bye.
too. Bill.
Bye.
All right.